Today we're going to be talking about having the motivation to get shit done. So what people don't realize is that you actually have a lot more control over the outcomes of your life than you even realize. And it's been scientifically proven that the people who feel like they have more of a sense of control over the outcomes of their life are more motivated and more successful. There was a study that was done on elderly people in a nursing home, and it showed that they basically gave all these older people houseplants to look after, and having that responsibility and control over something in their environment actually decreased their rate of mortality by half. So it actually brought more meaning into their life and reduced their stress, making them actually live longer. But you don't have to actually have control in your circumstances. It's more about how much control you feel like you have. In a lot of situations, when you take your feelings out of it and you use your logical mind to think about opportunities that could exist and adopt a growth mindset, you'll actually realize that you do have a few different things that you can do, and that most of the time you do have options. Even if there's something that you don't feel like is in your control at all, you can still always change your mindset about it and your attitude towards it. But for the most part, in your life, you actually do have some sort of control over the outcomes of what you do. So what you think and what you believe and the behavior and the actions that you take results in outcomes in your life. How you behave and how you respond to things in life and the attitude that you take towards things makes so much of a difference. Now, sometimes you might not feel like you want to have control over everything. Sometimes you just want to go with the flow, let things happen. And that's completely fine if you're enjoying the things. But for things that are challenges in your life or things that are something that you want to achieve or goals that you want to get to, you can get there if you believe in yourself and you do have control over getting to this thing. And the only way to do it is by taking small steps and getting there one step at a time. Having a positive mindset and actually having belief in yourself is the difference between actually getting shit done. Because a lot of the time when you're procrastinating, it's got something to do with fear or limiting beliefs about yourself that you're not able to do it or you're not good enough or any of these other kind of common things. But the good news is that you actually can change your beliefs about yourself. You can create more self-belief and you can create more of a sense of control in your life. What we need to do is actually take our emotions out of it and stop attaching these emotions onto the situation that we have in front of us. Now, I know that's easier said than done, but it is possible and you're able to do it. You're able to use your logical brain and process your emotions and think about how you can look at this situation objectively. If you do feel like your emotions are too attached and they're a bit too overwhelming, or you have crippling fear about achieving this thing, you need to focus on learn about regulating your nervous system. And there's all sorts of ways that you can do this through therapy or just taking some deep breaths, focusing your emotions and processing them properly. But it doesn't matter how smart or intelligent of a person you are, if you can't separate your emotions from the situation and separate your thinking mind from your emotions, that's the skill that is going to actually get you to success and get you to be able to achieve the goals that you want to in life. When you name your emotions and focus on separating them from your logical mind, then you can think more rationally, make better decisions, and have more realistic outcomes and create better outcomes for yourself, because you're not relying on your emotional feelings and you're not relying on motivation and waiting to feel motivated to do anything. You're taking the steps logically broken down, and you're able to use things like habits and discipline instead, which are much more effective. So you can reprogram the way that you think, and you can reprogram your mind with positive affirmations. You can change what you believe and how much you believe in yourself by practicing positive affirmations. So I'm talking about writing them down or saying them out loud to yourself Things like, I believe I can do this, I'm really good at this, I'm confident in my abilities, and any more kind of positive affirmations that are specific to your goal. Think about how a person who would be very successful at this thing that you're wanting to do, what would they do and how would they be speaking to themselves? But make sure that your positive affirmations are realistic and that they're something that you do currently actually believe in. Because if it's something that is outside of the realistic scope, then it's not really going to work. For example, if you're learning Spanish and your goal is to learn Spanish, you wouldn't say, I speak Spanish fluently, I can speak Spanish. You would say, I'm learning how to speak Spanish and I'm getting better at Spanish every day. I enjoy learning about the different words of a new language. So talking to yourself in a way that is positive but is believable for you still at the stage that you're at. Another really important step for motivation is to actually take action and get shit done. And you're probably thinking, well, obviously, Holly, but you don't realize that motivation doesn't just come out of nowhere. Motivation comes when you take action. So if you just take the first small step and just get it out of the way, just face it, every single little step that you take, you gain a little bit more confidence in yourself and you realize that you're getting better at this thing. Because action creates motivation, not the other way around. The only way to climb a mountain is by taking one step at a time. And it's the same for doing any big thing in life. You have to do one step at a time. And so it's really important to appreciate the little steps and celebrate your little wins along the way. It's so important to enjoy the process that you're doing, because the journey and the process is what you look back at the end and the thing that you're so proud of doing. Your whole life is a journey and a process. Everything is a process. So enjoy the present moment, because the present moment is all you really have. So even if you take just one tiny little step, appreciate that and be proud of yourself for doing that. And they build up over time, and it turns into bigger things and bigger things until you reach your goal. Another way to increase your motivation about things is to actually really focus on that thing and obsess about it, learn about it, and consume your mind with the topic of that thing. For example, if you want to have a cleaner house and you want to be more clean, then consume information about it, read books about it, watch YouTube videos, read the labels of the cleaning products. Really engage your mind with that kind of information, because where focus goes, energy flows. So when you're thinking about something all the time, then you're going to be thinking about it more, because we have thinking habits in the same way that we have our physical habits in our daily life. I don't know if you've ever noticed this before, but sometimes you might have a thought or a memory that you remember in your head every time at the same time every single day. Like when you have a shower or something, you might have the same thinking habits going on in a loop at that time every day. But when we become aware of this, we can change our thinking habits to benefit us. So if you ever have a minute in your day, if you're waiting in line or waiting for something, if you get a minute just to stop and think about that thing that is the goal that you want to achieve, or whatever you're wanting in life. Think about that thing and try and be creative, or think about the different things about it. Really consume your mind in it and become really obsessed and addicted to this thing, and your thinking habits will eventually change, and this will increase your motivation to take action more, because you're thinking about it all the time. Get excited about it and attach positive emotions to it and allow it to actually become your passion, and you will feel more motivated more often. Another motivation hack to get shit done is to remember why you're doing it. So actually get down to the reason why you're doing it. So get out your journal, ask yourself, why are you doing this? And then answer it and ask yourself why again, and ask yourself why again. Because when you really get down to the core reason why you're doing something, then this will propel you forward and this will motivate you. So once you've figured out what your why is, you need to come back and revisit it. If this is something that you're working on daily, then revisit your why every single morning. We as humans get to create the meaning in our lives. So you can make the meaning about why you're doing a thing and use that as fuel to motivate yourself. And then whenever you're having a tough time or you're finding it challenging to do the thing, you can remind yourself of your why. If you've written it down, you can read it again or say it out loud. Keep coming back to that constantly, and that will fuel your success. Another great way, which seems really obvious, but you might not be doing it, so I'm just going to point it out. Another great way to increase your motivation is to actually have a to-do list and to cross off the things. But this actually works because it releases dopamine in your brain every time you cross something off the list. So you're getting rewarded every time you take action. And because dopamine is the reward chemical, this motivates you to do it again, because you basically get addicted to taking those behaviors and getting the things done. So having a list and ticking things off is a really effective way to stay motivated and to keep motivated along the process. And another tip to stay motivated, and you might not have heard this one before, is to actually practice feeling proud of yourself at the end of every day. When you have spent time doing the thing and then you sit down and you think about what you got done and feel pride, feel the emotion of feeling proud in yourself and let it grow and enjoy this positive emotion. This is really effective, because when you practice the feeling of pride, you're increasing your confidence in yourself and you're increasing your self-belief. You should be proud of yourself for doing the thing. When you've been productive, you have a right to feel proud of yourself, and you really do deserve it. So practice pride at the end of every day, every time you've worked on this thing. And not only will this motivate you to go even further, it will also just make you happier in life. I hope you've gotten a lot from this video today. I hope you're feeling motivated and ready to get going. Chuck me a like and subscribe if you like this content, and I'll see you next time.